small side note recording. This may be a list of small takes I'll make its own video. People talk about, oh, it's dumb how Tri has burst armor, it's dumb how Carbon has burst bomb, it's dumb how Machine has Fizzy. No, it's not. We want weapons with strong kits. That's fun. Like, unless if it's burst bomb with Slosher, then yeah, give us good kits. Would you rather play, like, Sea Leader that can't do anything with its bubbles? Would you rather Carbon have Auto Rush instead of Zuka? Really? Yeah, give us strong kits. Screw weak kits. Weak kits suck. Give us actual good kits. In the process of making a video, I scrap a ton of ideas because they are just too short for their own topic. And I decided, what if instead of scrapping these ideas, we do a small little talk about it and combine these mini ideas together for one video. So let me know if you like this in the comments and I'll be sure to do more of it, and subscribe if you want to see more. And without further ado, enjoy some more mini takes. On the subject of weapon kits, we should have way more of them. Seriously, weapon kits are literally just adding a sticker, or if you're lucky, changing the design a bit with the Kenta collection and Sheldon's picks, and it gives you an entirely new sub and special combination that has massive potential to be more fun, or better, or any of the above. I have no idea why we only have 2 to 3 kits still. There should be at least 3 kits for every weapon in Splatoon 3. Come on. I've seen this argument a lot, especially on my best and worst of every weapon class video, which is anything can work, and nothing is better or worse than anything else because anything can work. I mean, first off, just because anything can win, even if that argument is true, which, I mean, technically it is true, does not mean that everything has an equal chance of winning, and therefore not everything is equal. Sure, you can argue that anything has a chance of working in any game, because there is always a small possibility, but there's a reason top players in almost every single competitive game out there don't play bottom tiers, because it's so unbelievably hard that it's not really worth it. Most people who play comp play to win, which is why you don't really see many unconventional choices. And if you do see an unconventional choice, it's because they believe it works for a specific purpose or reason, or is underrated, meaning they think it's not actually a bad choice, that people think it's a bad choice. Bottom line, yeah, some things aren't ever going to win. It's not really a good argument because it's such a blanket statement that it's like, yeah, you can't disprove it. But that doesn't mean anything. Just because there's potential for a custom range blaster to win a Splatoon 2 tournament doesn't mean anything because it's not happening. Now, if someone actually goes and wins, or goes and does a good placement, or discovers something for the weapon, then you can discover some arguments. But the statement of, oh, anything can work, so this weapon is good, doesn't mean anything. It doesn't provide any information. So no, this statement, while somewhat technically true, doesn't actually matter. So I've said like 50,000 times that GooTuber should just be removed or merged with Squiffer, but I have thought of one way to salvage the weapon, and I actually should have thought of it sooner. They can do what they did with Splat 1 Dual Squelcher, and turn it into a new weapon class. They made Dual Squelcher, Dually Squelcher, so they can make GooTuber a bow. I mean, I have no idea how that would look. I can only picture stupid things in my brain, but this could maybe make it stand out enough to where the weapon would not be a complete joke and just too similar to Squiffer. So, Nintendo, if you want GooTuber, make it a bow. One tiny underrated change that I think no one's going to talk about is the super jumping from the air thing is a nerf to super jumping out with quick super jump. Which, for those who don't know, it's something you do in Splatoon 2, you jump out, so you don't lose your special gauge, and it's really good. It's nice to be able to jump out, but I always thought it was a little bit too fast to get back in. But now if you can jump out to the sky platforms, you will then have to jump back in somewhere else, and it basically makes it take a little bit longer to get back, or maybe you can't jump back to spawn at all, so minor quick super jump nerf is a super tiny positive change Splatoon 3 will have. Grizzco Brella. Dude, I hate the Grizzco Brella. I'm sorry. Grizzco Brella is not a fucking Brella. There is no shield. Does not count. Like, why the hell did they take away the shield? That's the cool part about Brella, is the shield. Having a high damage shot ain't special. Blasters exist. Yeah, I think shooters are almost entirely fine. I mean, I think the end lag buffs were a little bit stupid, and 52 paint nerf definitely needs to be toned down, but outside of that, they're fine. They're just too low points for special. The main weapons themselves are good, and that's fine. The problem is everything else is bad. Everything else just sucks. And so now we have shooters, which is the only class they've actually buffed while they nerf everything else into the ground. Okay, so I have done a good bit of tier lists. I recently finished a 5.5 series, and I have ranked VSploosh right at the very bottom. And a lot of people think I hate VSploosh, but little secret, I actually don't. I think VSploosh is really fun. It's not good, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's good, but the weapon kit is fun. Until you get a high enough level for Splashdown to not be a special, but ignoring that, outside of that one attribute, an aggressive special, a run-in main weapon with a run-in sub is fun. Not every weapon kit needs to be amazing. I don't mind kits like this if the other kits are all good. That being said, VSploosh is still a little worse than it should be, even for a for-fun weapon, because Splashdown being bad, but I mean, Splashdown is just kind of the exception to specials in general. So if we get a VSploosh in Splatoon 3 with Curling Bomb and an aggressive special that isn't bad, first of all, that wouldn't even be that bad a main weapon, but secondly, even if it was a bad main weapon kit combination, then at least it would still be fun, and that's fine. There can be kits that really just fit the objective of being fun. That's perfectly okay. Hiding deaths on the Splatnet app is absolutely horrible for the player base, like especially in Splatoon 2, deaths is the most important statistic in the game, and you can't check it if you don't have the phone app. Like, you could have players who go 13-7 think they're doing better than a player that went 11-1. And additionally, hiding Turf Inked is pretty bad as well. It's not as big a thing as deaths, but Turf Inked matters so much. And don't tell me you can't fit paint, assists, and deaths onto the results screen on the normal game. You absolutely can. There is so much room. I hate that this stuff is completely confined to the phone app. Come on, just give us the actual stats straight to us. Like Nintendo, I know you don't want to hurt your player base's feelings, but deaths are such an important statistic to improving at the game. I promise it's more beneficial in the long run. Alright, so last thing, and I don't know if this counts as a take, but you know what, it's my video, so I'm doing whatever I want here. The most problematic specials for moving from 1 to 2 to 3 so far have been Stingray in first Splatoon 2, Ink Armor / Bubbler, and Kraken / Baller, though Ultra Stamp did do the Kraken style correctly, but that's a topic for another time. Now, I can't go into these in depth, but Baller's terrible design because either it's too good that it basically is a panic button that can kill people, or it feels terrible because it's a panic button that can't kill people. You have Armor, which is just worse designed Bubbler, like, hey, it's not invincible and it's instant, but it still feels horrible, and it feels weak, and we've removed all the depth that Bubbler has. And Stingray is the death laser that kills you across the stage and just is not really very interactive. And Splatoon 3 already has a version of all of these specials. We have Crab Tank, which is basically a mixture of Ultra Stamp mechanics and Kraken in terms of aggressive with a lot of options. We have Big Bubbler, which is now a deployable shield, something 50 times easier to balance than both Bubbler and Ink Armor ever were. And we have Killer Whale 5.1, which we haven't seen enough about, but again, a deployable, way easier to balance than something you yourself control. So I guess this is just a nice positive note to end out the video, but the most problematic specials, at least in my opinion, we've seen in Splatoon 3 already look a million times better, and even if they are problematic, seem a million times easier to balance. So that's the one take series. I might do this again when I eventually accumulate enough smaller takes. I have no idea if you guys will like this kind of thing. It's something I wanted to try, so let me know in the comments what you think, and I will see you all in another video.